Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy. This is my brother Mish, and this is Major Vibes Show Episode 9. Can't believe we're here. 9 times. 9 times.
9 times.
What's that from?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
You got it.
What was it that he did 9 times?
9
His missing days?
Yeah, missed days or something.
9
We'll pull up the clip.
9
Every episode,
times.
we're shocked of how many episodes we've done.
I
And
can't
we
believe
We
it.
should continue that.
I can't
forever.
believe
like,
it.
My name is George. We're all George.
Yeah. I was watching a podcast the other day, yesterday actually, and the two girls on the podcast, they were laughing. They're like, they have like, I don't know, almost 1 million subscribers or something. And they were saying like, people like with a podcast our size or whatever, they've got like full management teams that are, filming the podcast, then creating the clips, and then putting the clips on all the different social medias, and what song do you choose, and this and that. And they're like, we don't have any of that. We're up at midnight. We don't have consistent posting times. We don't have anything. We're just trying to figure it out using cell phones, asking friends how to do everything. She's like, but the glory of God is actually pushing it through the algorithm because we have no idea what we're doing here. We have no clue what we're doing. It's like, but at least the only thing we know what we're doing is we're consistent in posting. That's it. And I think the thing on YouTube, the big thing is at least just be consistent. And it takes long on YouTube. But if you are consistent, like for months and months and a year, then things will start going your way and you'll start building. At least from my experience.
I think that's great. And like I learned this from a marketing person who worked with me a while back. There's tactics, and everything that falls under the umbrella of tactics is like exact posting schedule, hashtags,
the proper
song of the day that's popular, like all the stuff that like every YouTube video is telling you like how to trip the algorithm.
Yeah.
Right. So all that stuff. But what most of the people don't focus on is having a show that has a subject matter or a consistent message or like an actual mission that the people are aware of, other than just talking about anything.
Yeah.
So I'm sure those girls you're talking about, what's the show called?
The Girls Gone Bible.
Girls Gone Bible. What a niche. What a title.
Crazy niche.
What a great focus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're fundamentally strong in what you're doing and you're consistent, you'll find your audience.
Yeah.
But if you're like,
and you also got to be a good personality and be charismatic.
That goes without saying. But if you're the exact same as like every other podcast with no focus, then maybe you'll get some traction with those tactics. But that's what for us, we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I'm extremely like a great personality.
Yeah.
I know you are too. I know our topic is always focused around the vibe.
Yeah.
And the measurement of it. So I feel very confident that this YouTube channel will be pumping.
Yeah, I have no issue with it. I see it like not so much on YouTube or whatever, long form content, but like especially with my car stuff on my like the car Instagram, everyone is just posting reels all day long. It's like no more photos, it's just reels because that's what brings in followers. And it's like every 2 weeks it's like a different song on rotation. So it's like everyone's posting always with the same exact song, the same exact edit format, like the whole thing. So it's like, it's just, I don't know. I can't watch it anymore.
It's like the flavor of the week. It's the cool.com. What's the latest trend?
Yeah. Like I can't handle that stuff anymore. I don't know.
That actually, we didn't do vibe scores, but it segues into pair updates. So let's go through the vibe scores quick.
Yeah, sure.
And then if I remember, we'll segue back.
Go for it.
Into this. So my vibe score of the day is 86. Pretty pumped about that.
Nice.
I would say it's mostly because I did not watch TV last night. Me and Eula had tea. We were playing this movie card game where it tells you a hint from the movie, a terrible description of the movie with a hint, if you need it, and the year, and you have to guess the movie. And we did that for a couple of hours, laughing our asses off.
It's a fun game.
So yeah, we played it a little bit.
Yeah, we did play it a little bit.
The only problem is that you'll run, as soon as you're done the deck, it's over.
Yeah, you can't play it twice.
It would be a good subscription-based model, maybe, where they update.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, my vibe score of the day, 86. 719 sleep. Restorative, a little below average. Heart score, strong. 84 HRV, pumped about that. And 45 resting heart rate.
Oh, that's
Wow, that's the lowest
that's
actually
really low.
resting heart rate I've had in a while.
Yeah,
So that's good.
cool.
Do we do vibe of the week?
I'll do my vibe.
Yeah, you do yours.
My vibe this morning, Monday morning, 73 makes a lot of sense. I feel like a 73, not terrible, but not amazing. 6 hours, 20 of sleep, a little below average. 3 hours and 11 minutes of restorative sleep, and low hard score, 64%, which is about 20% below my average. But yeah, other than that,
How you feeling?
I'm feeling chill.
Was there anything you think contributed to your lower than average scores?
I don't know. The stress meter's up. I don't feel particularly, I don't have anything to stress about, but I feel it for some reason. I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
how
so
to
you
explain
feel
it.
like you're maybe more susceptible to stress?
I think so. Yeah.
Like you could be easily triggered?
Yes, I feel like today I could definitely be easily triggered. I'm not. I'm in a good mood and I'm very chill. But yeah, I don't think today I have a lot of patience.
Hey, that's fair. And that's a direct correlation with the HRV.
Yeah, and like if my HRV is low.
So for those of you listening, the HRV is one of the metrics of the heart score.
Mhm.
And the HRV is a measure of your body's stress. And if your body's stressed, it means your mind will be stressed too, because your mind lives in the body.
Yeah.
So that's we always talk about HRV, but that's what HRV is.
Mhm. Yeah, but no, not a bad score today. Not a good score, but not a bad score. So makes sense. It was a chill weekend. It was a really chill weekend.
Yeah. Want to look at the top 3 of the day and then top 3 of the week?
Let's look at vibe of the week. Yeah, or of the day, I guess. Who do we got?
Check him out, man.
Reed.
Big Reed.
This guy is just on another level these days.
841 sleep, 94 heart score.
I long for the day where I get 841 of sleep. That's big stuff.
Your day's coming, brother.
Oh, I know. I need that. Charlotte, second place. Great job, Charlotte. And Dom, look at Dom, top 3, 92 score.
Knocking Scotty out of first place.
It's about time someone knocks Scotty out.
Yeah, so Dom knocks Scotty out. So that's great.
Yep.
We got 2 whoops and an Ura.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And let's look at the week.
Yeah. Okay, so Scotty's on top for the week.
Okay, yo, I'm in second.
You're in second. That's really good stuff.
Oh, I've been cruising purple streaks.
Yeah, you've been doing good.
Yeah.
You've been doing good. And Dom too. That's great stuff.
Excellent. So yeah, I just screenshotted that, but looking good on the week. Feeling good. I'm feeling good today.
Great.
I'm ready for a big one. I'm really excited. And this segues right now into pair updates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for 2025 now officially, because our lead developer Carson,
Yep.
who is our first official hire.
Yes, he is our first official hire.
The paperwork was completed this morning.
Beautiful.
We have our full-time lead developer ready to rip. Before, he was working part-time with Pair. About a quarter of his time was focused on Pair.
Yeah.
We got a lot done. He's really passionate about it. But now all his contract work, he's closed off.
Yeah.
And now it's Pair full-time.
Yeah, full-time Pair. That's going to be amazing, because our rate of development was pretty good, honestly, for what he was actually, for the hours he was putting in.
Yeah.
It was quick development. But now it's going to be on a whole other level, which is super exciting, because the quicker we can develop things, the quicker we can work out the kinks, and the quicker we can bring on more people confidently.
Exactly.
So I'm excited about that.
And we were talking about, like, once we get, let's say, a certain level of user experience
Mhm.
settled and fixed, a certain amount of wearables on, and some KPIs, some metrics that we can identify to see if people are using it the right way, then we can launch to the App Store and avoid the whole in-between beta. Right now we use, if you get invited, you have to download a beta.
Apple test flight from the App Store. Actually, that was my question, because I don't even know. When are we supposed to launch on the App Store officially? Like, do we even have a timeline?
We don't have a timeline. We have certain things we need to accomplish, not for Apple's sake, but for our sake. Like, we could put it on tomorrow if we want.
Yeah, of course, no. But I mean, when are we going to be ready? Because I have never really thought about it, because we didn't have to think about it. The priority was building this thing, right?
Yeah, getting it to work
and function and get people to use it. But to me, I would say before June.
Absolutely.
But at least by June, which
No,
Seems far, but it's
a
4
million
or 5
percent.
months away.
Like the invite mechanism, because I'm pretty sure we're going an invite only route
Okay.
so that everyone can have a connection and it snowballs like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great apps do that. We're going to build out that invite mechanism, that create your own tribe mechanism.
Yeah.
We're going to optimize a few things. We're going to get the steps in. We're going to get some points going.
Steps, points, streaks, different things like that.
And now we'll really be able to do that while making the back end really solid.
Yeah, the foundation needs to be killer.
Yeah. So it'll all be evolving in the right direction.
Mhm.
And it was really nice to talk to Carson after a little bit of a break, because he has perspective. Where even
Yeah.
if I took a few weeks off, I don't have perspective. I'm looking at the app every day. I'm
Mhm.
in it. And he brought on one of his friends who's I think he's some kind of like developer.
Okay.
And so he's an engineer-minded guy. And he brought him on with Apple. And they were discussing, and I'm like, where were you talking about your vibe scores? He's like, oh, in iMessage. I'm like, yeah, so not in like comments on scores or anything. Like no, in iMessage. And he was just discussing like, how do I increase my vibe? Or, well, the guy's like, you're an engineer, you have an output. Now you have to modify your variables so you can get a more desirable output. So he's like, I guess less brownies and less screen time before bed seems to be what's giving me a better score. And just that simple acknowledgement. Imagine you go your entire life having brownies and screen time, like your whole life.
I love brownies.
So do I. But at 50, 60, 70 years old, the consistent impact of that every night because of the lack of transparency is what makes old people look like old people,
Yeah.
right? It's what destroys the mind. It's what destroys the body.
What's also funny is I go through these waves, and at night sometimes, like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll just like go eat something. I'll just raid the fridge, if it's cheese or a cookie or something like that. What was the point I was going to make?
The waves.
When I do that, let's say I do that like 3 or 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm eating crazy calories. I'm just grabbing like a midnight snack of some sort. When I don't do it, I don't want it. When I do it a couple of days in a row, it's almost like my internal clock knows, and it wakes me up at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and is like, yo, you're hungry, eat some food. And it's like, it programs it. So like you said, if a 70-year-old has been eating brownies or food and watching movies and stuff like right before bed, their body is programmed to it. So even if they try to give it up, it's going to be a real difficult thing to try to
And by
phase
then,
out.
what damage has been done?
Oh yeah. By that time, all the damage has been done.
Right. But now in your youth, if you have this tool that you're able to see others, and then now you want to instinctively have a better score because you don't want to look like a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
and you're being rewarded with a better score for your efforts, it's cool to see. And that's the baseline of friends and family on this app.
Yeah. I saw this thing a guy posted. It was a reel or a TikTok, or I don't know, someone sent it to me, but it was a guy who does like marketing strategies and for content or whatever. And he's like, things that I'm noticing for 2025 and the coming years is that, and he said, one, IRL is in, and like Instagram is like out. Meaning people are seeking in-person communication and hanging out and doing all this stuff versus like being online or talking on FaceTime and doing this stuff. Like, it's like now a flex to be
In person,
doing things in person with people, physical, And same thing at work. Like, people don't want Zoom meetings that last 2 hours and no point gets made. It's like, let's go to the office, go and do the meeting. Let's all vibe together.
let's get done.
30 minutes, and then let's go and continue our work,
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of seeing that stuff too. I think especially with the rise of like AI and all this and then stuff. Sometimes I'm on the internet and I'm not sure if the picture I'm looking at or the video I'm watching is real. If it was, or if it's half real, half Photoshop. Like, you honestly don't even know what you're looking at anymore. And it comes like to bring up, like, not to bring up the LA fires or whatever, but like half the stuff I saw, I didn't know whether it was real or not, and nobody knew. And even the real stuff, people are not believing anymore. They're like, it's AI. And then there's like arguments in the comments. So it's a very confusing time on the internet. So I think real life hanging out and
At least you know it's real because you're there.
Yeah, it's in front of you. Right.
I think that's the downside of like the positive downside of AI
and technology
is that it's going to lead to more real interactions.
Yeah.
And this actually is the exact point I wanted to make earlier where we were talking about like Carson coming back and his fresh perspective, and we were talking about how do we get people to engage in the app more, and spend more time in the app and all this stuff. And with his fresh perspective, he's like, Steve Jobs created this amazing thing called the iPhone, where you can do all these incredible things. You can see your banking, you could call people, you could FaceTime, all this. But the social apps came on there and started stealing our time. They've evolved to a point of such addiction that we think that for an app to be good, we need to be glued to it, and we need to be addicted to it all day long. He's like, I'm pretty sure that the goal of what Pair is to increase the vibe of people. The longer you keep them on an app, doesn't that go completely against the idea of increasing their vibe and wanting them to go out into the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons we created this was to give people a good, happy, positive environment, but also a place where they're not constantly scrolling or constantly being fed different types of media, whether it's good media or bad media, doesn't matter. It's still like, even if the content you're consuming is great content, if you're constantly scrolling and every 30 seconds is something new, your brain can't even handle that.
Yeah.
That it causes chaos within you.
Sweet potato is good. I always say this one. But if you eat 10,000 calories of sweet potato, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the idea with what he was saying is, he's like the measure of a good app, because he's all up in the app world.
Yeah, that's his domain.
His domain. He doesn't have Instagram. He doesn't use Snapchat. He doesn't have any of those things.
And he's young, so it's pretty rare for someone his age.
He has no notifications other than your Vibe score is ready, and he uses iMessage. So those are the main things that he uses, and his banking app, that banking app that he loves, that he showed us.
The one that won the awards for the best design.
So he's like, already, if I'm able to come in and check my dad, my mom, my friend, my girlfriend, and see how they're doing on a daily basis, that in itself, over time, over life, over weeks, over years, is an extremely valuable thing that maybe because we're so close to the fire, we need more engagement. He's like, let iMessage and Telegram be the communication tool.
Yeah, well, we noticed it too. Like, we built the chat into our platform and everything. I mean, to be fair, we don't have DMs. So a lot of things that I would do on iMessage, like text messaging people, I do it on Instagram DM. One, I don't like giving out my phone number and being bothered like in my actual phone.
Yeah.
So I keep that stuff there. So probably on Pair, if we had the DMs, there would be more conversations. But in the group chats and all the different groups, it hasn't been that popular. Our data pool is very small still, so we don't really
exactly. And there's been some nice engagement in the public feed.
In the public feed, there's been some decent engagement.
And as we bring on more people who are, because a lot of the people we brought in are not necessarily posting types, right?
No, they're not.
Right, like Ange and Scotty, and they're like great family people. They're private people. They don't really post stuff.
No.
But they're there every day. And Ange is on a 4-day streak now.
Nice.
So Ange is my cousin, and she's been putting up some really good numbers.
Beautiful.
So all that to say is that if we build something that people use every single day with the people they love for their whole lives,
it's a beautiful
we've
thing.
created something that doesn't quite exist. And it was nice to hear that perspective, because in the back of my head, I'm always hearing, all these notifications and this, and we want to keep them in and in. And yes, we want to give them reasons to come back, but only if it's to their benefit.
Yeah,
not only to Pair's benefit.
No. And that's up to us to build a great place that wants people to come check it out once a day or see their streaks and, see other people's streaks. I think the fun thing about Pair is that, like, maybe the outside world might think it's weird to like show your sleep times and your heart score and your stress score and whatever, and your steps. But for me, like, I love seeing other people's stuff, not to stalk them, but literally because it motivates me. Right? Like I always say, I'm not the huge gym guy. Like, it's really, I have to force myself to go to the gym. But if I see on Pair that you went to the gym and you post some of your stats from that, and I see your scores and the benefits of going to the gym, then I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to go to the gym, but look at all these great benefits. I should go. So for me, it's a motivator to see what other people, how they're doing and how it impacts
and people close to you, not necessarily.
No, but even
strangers too.
No, honestly, strangers maybe even more, because I'm like, look at this person.
Oh yeah.
This.
Oh yeah.
If
totally.
they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
just that there's not that many strangers.
There are no,
right
because
now.
we're still in beta. It's
'Cause
just
we know
people
everyone.
we know. But yeah, for me, it's yeah.
I love that. No, I love that. And maybe that should actually segue not into our topic of the day, but into number 4.
Yep.
The what you're doing versus how you're doing. So
Yeah.
So this is something we have to explain often to potential investors, to the everyday person we walk into and tell them what we're up to. It's the concept of how are you different than Strava? How are you different than any other like health fitness app, MyFitnessPal, where you do your food, or even Brian Johnson's new app,
Mhm.
which has elements of Pear.
Yep.
But it's more like a Strava than it is a Pear right now.
I'll be honest with you before you finish. When I saw Brian Johnson's app, which we said that we would love for him to be an investor in Pear, when I saw that after, I think from when you sent me the screenshots of his new app or whatever, my vibe score went down a little bit every single day because it brought a little element of doubt and stress for me, which is like this guy who's got infinite dollars, billions of dollars, and whether it's from him or his people around him, right? He's got he's got a platform of people with already thousands on there, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's not exactly what we're doing, there are elements of it.
Sure.
It's in the same family. So to me, that has been in the back of my head and I don't like it.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. So I'll explain.
But we are
on that.
human and we do doubt ourselves sometimes. But like I always say, I know what our mission is and what our focus is. And I know that they're not doing that.
Yes. So the Brian Johnson app, it's called Don't Die.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is, it's really an app for his community to connect and get to know each other. And they have these events in every city called
Don't Die.
Don't Die events where people get together. Great community.
And to be fair, sorry to cut you off, he's all about longevity. So slightly different.
So that's it. So I was also feeling it, the stress the day of, because we were like in our own heads in a white space completely.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's this an illusion of a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm seeing is Brian Johnson is very focused, not on the 80-20 lifestyle that we like to live.
Mm-hmm.
He's focused on the 99% or 100%.
Yeah, almost like a robotic lifestyle.
Yeah, like I feel like our mainstream appeal, even though we're smaller and not as funded as Brian Johnson, is way bigger upside. And he is focused almost solely on biohackers. It's not, and that's why this ties into what we were talking with Carson. It almost creates, Don't Die existing creates like a lane and shows us like, oh wait, do we want to be that side of the lane or do we want to be more on our side? So the idea of family and checking in with people, like not everyone on Don't Die has a wearable. It's not based on wearable. It's based on community who are fans of Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
First.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a Telegram for Brian Johnson that has some wearable data.
Yeah.
But it's for goals of steps. It doesn't track how you're doing.
No.
It only tracks what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a score for your sleep. If you get 7 hours, you're full in the sleep department. But you can get 7 hours and be drunk.
Yeah, so it doesn't factor in restorative sleep, REM and deep, right?
Exactly. Or the heart metric.
Because if I want, I can have a bottle of wine and 3 joints and sleep for 14 hours, right? But my metrics are going to be absolutely disastrous.
Exactly. But with this,
I haven't had alcohol in years, so I just feel like if I got drunk, I would be dead for days.
So it's a good. First of all, when you have competition, slightly, it's easier to get funding because it shows that there's actually interest in this domain.
Yeah.
So that's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
And it also highlights what we want to be and what we don't want to be.
Yes.
I think that we've always been mainstream kind of thing. I see like Brian Johnson is more like Tool, or Don't Die is more like the band Tool or like a progressive metal band.
Yeah.
And we're more like Blink-182.
Mm-hmm.
We're not perfect. We don't live perfect, but we keep things simple, and that is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I think our appeal overall will be bigger than Don't Die.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt kind of stressed at the first day. But after that, it was like, we're doing something completely different. They don't have a tool where you check in with your family. It's like, it's not geared towards that.
No, it's not. We're doing, there are elements that are similar, But I mean, that's on every app ever, right?
Yeah, like there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, Facebook. They all have
Twitter,
Discord.
Threads, Discord, Patreon. They all do a lot of the same things.
But what it shows me is that, and it made me really proud, is that this guy who on paper vibes the highest on the planet created an app in this direction. It means we're absolutely at the forefront of the future.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And also looking at that app made me proud of what we built and designed on a budget compared to this guy who's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
We created something beautiful, a little more intricate.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's great. So I was like, man, like imagine all the people he has on his teams to do this versus like 3 of us.
Exactly.
Which is crazy.
And there's no reason why people on that app would not want to use perhaps Pair.
No, for sure.
For their friend groups. And so it was cool to see. It was a little bit of a shocker, but not a shocker because he would have been the perfect guy for Pair anyway.
Maybe he'll love Pair so much that he'll toss us $100 million.
Yeah, maybe he'll just buy it.
Yeah, who knows?
And that's the idea too. What we've been learning throughout our like meeting a lot of consultants in the raising and the startup game, they say that you don't have to make your product bulletproof to not be able to copy. That's more in like if you designed a special keychain or like a special like engineered product that someone in China could just replicate and sell.
Mm-hmm.
For you guys, it's app, it's tech, it's development, it takes time. Oftentimes they're just like, it's cheaper just to buy you. So oftentimes investors will invest in you with the hopes that you just get sold.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. So if you're investing in us, there's a chance we get sold.
Yeah.
There's a chance we become huge and you make a lot of money with your investment.
It was like Casey Neistat, 6 or 7 years ago. Casey Neistat is like one of the biggest YouTubers. And he created a company called Beam. And it was like this weird Snapchat type of app. I downloaded it. It was the worst thing I ever saw. But CNN bought it from him and brought him on too. Like they bought pretty much him and his whole team for like $30 million. They shelved the app after like a year and let him go.
Hey.
Because it didn't work out. But hey, at least he got the bag.
Exactly. And I think the fact that we're growing, we have a growing wait list, we have people who are interested. I'd say out of almost 99% of everyone who signed up for us was not a biohacker.
No.
What they signed up for was because they saw you talking about it. They saw me talking about it. And they're like, yo,
we're just normal guys.
This speaks my language.
Mm-hmm.
The biohacking stuff where it's like, measure your blood levels and your this and what's your low testosterone and what's that. And
yeah, it's a lot.
It's a whole, it's a biohacking
like segment. Maybe the new people who come on to Pair and kind of get into this lifestyle with the wearables and knowing more about your body, how to fix little things, maybe they get so into it because of the Pair community that they end up going to these more big biohacking things like for Brian Johnson.
Sure.
But yeah, who knows?
And so this topic, what you're doing versus how you're doing, like how are we different than Strava or Instagram or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about it, but why don't you go into it?
Well, no, I mean, we've been saying this for over a year, which is like, okay, how are we different? What are we trying to do here? And I think it was me that said it, which is like, well, on Instagram, I always say Instagram because that's like the big popular app. Like on Instagram, you don't really know how people are doing. You know what people are doing. They're sharing in their stories where they are, where they're hiking, where they're partying, where they're eating. They're always showing what they're up to.
Exactly.
And they're showing their best photos and best everything. Whereas on Pair, you can post photos, but you're really seeing how everybody is doing. Like I say it, I go on my homepage in the morning. First thing I do after I see how I'm doing, I see how my mom's doing, how my brother's doing, how my friends are doing. I don't care what they're doing, really. But I love to see how they're doing. How is their heart? How is their sleep? How is their trend? Like, are they on 3 or 4 or 5 good days, or are they on a super downtrend? And when they're on a downtrend, then I text them, I call them, hey, is everything cool? Whatever. So for us, it was really important to see how people are doing. And I haven't seen an app that really shows that. And we need the wearables because right now that's where technology is, whether it's the Ring or this or whatever. They really paint a pretty good picture on how we're doing. And I often check with our Pair users, hey, is your vibe score actually matching how you're feeling? If your stress level, the sleep, obviously it's an easy thing. So I like to see that so we can refine our algorithms and everything.
Totally. You're going to be able to say on the homepage how accurate it feels.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're going to design that,
Mhm.
but that should be a feature in it so that we keep adapting it. Because like, let's say with Strava, it's a healthy app, right? You
Yeah.
post your run, you post your ice bath, you meet with people who go on hikes, and that's all super healthy, amazing stuff. But if you do all that stuff and you have 10 beers at night,
Mhm.
there's nowhere to know or reflect or keep you accountable to how you're doing. Because if you did all that great stuff during the day, but then you partied hard at night, there's no way of knowing how you're doing. Like there's no way to see that. So it's easy to cheat.
It is.
It's easy to
To be fair, though, on Strava, I believe you need a wearable of some sort to calculate, a wearable with GPS.
well, your phone usually.
Your phone, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So your phone, but if they have wearables, like anyone with a wearable, kind of knows a little bit how they're doing. If you've got an Oura and that's how you're connected,
Totally,
right?
but it's not
it's not shared.
it's not the focus,
No.
right? Like everything that we do is focused on that thing. So you could have gone to bed as early as possible. You could have done everything perfectly and your vibe score still sucks. Why is that?
Mhm.
Well, the vibe score is it's like a scale.
Yeah.
You stand on the scale and it is what it is, right? But by seeing by seeing the score, you can ask yourself the questions. Oh, did I go to bed later? Oh, am I stressed about something else? Have I been working too hard too consistently?
Mhm. There's not much reflection going on like Strava versus with Pair.
Exactly. And so the Pair algorithm that we created that combines the heart metrics and the sleep metrics give you a view of like that doesn't exist anywhere else right now. Even the
Yeah.
Brian Johnson one, they're not doing that.
Mhm.
It's like, oh yeah, get 7 hours. Like, look, rewarding people with points for 7 hours of sleep is amazing.
Yeah.
Rewarding people for steps, which is what we're going to do anyway too,
Yeah.
is amazing. But to truly see how people are doing, and really, we only really care about like 5-10 people in our lives max.
Yeah.
Like really, really.
The rest we just want to stalk.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But that's why I feel so bigly about Pair is that this is a very novel concept
Mhm.
that it's almost like we're taking a technology that was used for one thing and applying it a totally different way. That's why I'm super pumped.
Yeah. Super cool.
And so that's the difference of like what you're doing versus how you're doing. Because
Mhm.
everyone on Instagram or the socials posts their highlight reels.
Yeah, it's all highlight reels.
But in Pair, it's like, it is what it is. Like one of our users, you had a discussion with them. It's like, yo, your HRV is tanking like crazy. So your vibe score is like on a crazy landslide. And you had this conversation and then it led to some behavioral changes.
Yeah.
Because this person was trying.
Yeah, she was trying everything.
But then she changed things and now she's like almost like peaking purples every day.
Yeah. Yeah, because once you see your vibe score and you're like on a low, it's like, hey, knock, knock, like you got to change something. Why is your heart score so low? Why are you stressed, And yeah.
And a big thing with the HRV measurement and our stress algorithm there, it's that you can't feel the HRV because your body, when you are stressed, gives you more like energy, or it gives you more, what's that called that they stab it in you.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Whatever. But to counteract what you're saying, I kind of do know when I have a low HRV or a high resting heart rate. I don't know which one it is. Probably the high resting heart rate. I can tell. Like I can usually tell in the morning when I get up what my score is going to be like.
But you've like trained yourself to like
I've trained myself to know, and I know based off certain patterns or whatever. So it's something I like to play. But actually, that girl we're talking about, Zalata, shout out Zalata. Sorry for calling you out. She would be a great guest because she just posted, she's one of my closest friends. She posted a reel the other day of like old her versus new her. And the old her was working at the club, sleeping 2 hours, then going to work and doing a million different things versus
hustling.
Yeah. And versus like her life now, which she like left Canada, was living in Mexico. Her kids go to kindergarten there, like
Yeah.
in the wilderness,
yeah.
and a whole different vibe. So she's gone through a whole bunch of stuff. She coaches a lot of people and she's always working on herself. So she would be a pretty good guest to have.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the big difference of Pair. If you're wondering, it's like you
Yeah.
can't lie
No, you can't lie.
You can't lie, but that's the beauty of it. Like, if you can't lie, then you just got to like try your best. And it's not about everyone just having max crazy scores every day. It's just like a real assessment that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see.
Yep.
And so we're just making that public for the people you care about.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's go into the topic of the day.
Topic of the day.
This has been in your head now for a little while.
Well,
for a week.
Just a week, yeah. On the way to last week's podcast, I was trying to think of what to talk about on that podcast.
Yeah.
And we did come up with it, whatever it was. And then I was like, oh, what can we do now? What can we do for next week? I said, maybe like not giving up. And I think I was inspired by that because one, everybody is always in a position where they start something. And at the moment something gets hard, you instantly want to quit. And most people do quit. I've done things where I've started, I've quit. I'm sure you've done it.
Of course.
As soon as things get a little hard, a little too stressful, boom, you stop. So I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I was inspired. And I feel like that's something like everyone can relate to.
Totally.
And I see it happen all the time. I see people start stuff. I see them give up as soon as things get difficult. And so maybe we can offer some experience or words of wisdom.
Sure. Well, I was thinking about this just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I have this recurring thought where an old Blink-182 video came on, like them live, 94, playing in front of nobody, saying, hey, we're Blink-182. We like to play guitar and sing stupid songs about your mom and whatever.
Yeah.
And I look at these guys, and if you're like, these are the guys who in 94, you wouldn't have known it, but they went on to sell tens of millions of albums, make hundreds of millions of dollars on tour. They're still as relevant as they always were.
Maybe even more.
Maybe even more.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in a band when I was a kid, and I was looking up to these guys, they weren't even that much better than me. They are not good singers.
No.
They are not particularly good with their instruments. They're really good at getting their vibe out, and they're amazing personalities.
Yeah,
but where I'm going with this is I've always been focused on like, oh no, like I need to do this better, and I need to like look like this, and I need to have this show and this stuff, and creating so much layers of complication where if I just continued to make songs and be in a band from when I was 15 years old and just take it seriously, who's to know where that would have gone?
Oh yeah.
Because now looking back, like back when you're in the present moment, you're like, oh, I'm not good looking enough. I'm not tall enough. My hair is not cool enough. My voice is not good enough. My songs aren't good enough. All these reasons. These guys had shit songs.
Yeah, they were horrible back in the day.
They, like, to the level of like what we're expecting today. But what did they do? They just did it anyway. They just did it. They kept going. They were having a good time with it. And they continued until they went out into ecosystem. They had feedback, they adjusted, they learned, they grew, and they didn't waste any time. So with music, it's like when I look back, my hair was cool because now I'm bald as shit. My hair was awesome back then. I was like, oh, I'm not good looking enough. I'm like, man, I used to be really good looking. What the fuck was I thinking?
Happened?
What happened? And so when I look back, all the insecurities that I had
were irrelevant.
I can see now how fucking crazy I was.
Yeah.
And so all those insecurities, same, let's say with the podcast that I started in 2019, or even like the wellness journey I started
years ago
when I was blogging. I started blogging. I stopped drinking. I was getting healthy, and I was writing about it, and I was like getting traction. And I stopped. And like fast forward 5 years, everyone's talking about going sober. Everyone's talking about fasting.
Yeah, you were ahead of the.
Everyone's talking about this stuff, and I was like, I was younger. I was fitter. And I'm like, why did you stop? So what I'm realizing now is we see this Brian Johnson thing. Maybe it makes us feel something. In 10 years from now, if we quit right now, we're going to look back and be like, you fucking idiots. You had it. But you got into your stupid heads just like you've done at every other time in your life.
Yep.
And so now what I'm doing is I'm having faith that, you know what? If I don't do this in the future, I'm going to look back just like I did every other time. So third time's a charm. I'm not falling for that.
And it's the same for me. Like even like with this app, it is grueling. It is expensive. We're going up against big companies, big corporations, people with a lot more resources than us. But what every one of those things are lacking are the charisma that we have and the passion that we have for what we're building, because we're literally building something that is just in a way that we live our lives already.
Exactly.
So it's hard for someone else to go do the exactly what we're doing, because this is the way we live. Like it's our heart and souls are into this thing, and we're bringing in great people to be a part of it as well and join on the platform. And it's a great community, right? And it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, so
It's not going to get worse.
And every day that we're using it and we're building it and we're working on it, it's growing and it's building steam, and it's like,
look, every time.
And what business started without any kind of competition? And I'm not even saying that the Brian Johnson app is competition.
No, it's just in the realm of things. But no matter what, and I see this everywhere with projects we've had in the past, and with what I see other people doing, I see a lot of people starting things all the time, and I see them giving up right away. But it's also to say like never give up is also not the right thing to say, because sometimes you actually do have to assess, like, what are you doing? Are 20,000 other people doing the exact same thing that you're doing? Are they starting the same company? Are they starting that same activewear brand? Because like during COVID, everyone had an activewear brand. Not that they're bad. I got a lot of them, and all my friends who had them, I bought stuff off because they were all very cozy things. But it was just products from China with a logo on it.
Yeah,
there was no value there, and there was no money behind it or effort to really push it.
Okay, and that's a very interesting point you make, because let's say 20 years ago, making music, that's a different story. But to make music now, let's say for me, at 33, 34, 35, 37, it's an oversaturated market. It wouldn't make logical sense for me to go into such a competitive landscape with people who are built differently than me, who have that kind of like attention drive that I don't have. Like, I'm not looking for people's attention. Like, I'm a creator. I like to create useful things.
I think we both like to create more than we like to consume. We like other people to consume the things we create.
Totally. And so this is actually, we're going interdimensional on this, kind of Gary V styles, but I never stay up at night thinking, what should I have done better? Well, no, I ask myself, but I say, I don't live in regret. I don't say, oh man, if I would have stayed in music, I would have killed it. Or if I kept doing that blog and then into the podcast, I would have been huge by now. 5 years in, I would have been mega. I don't think like that, because I have to tell myself a story that brings me peace and vibe in the moment. And it means that I wasn't meant to do those things.
No.
If I'm not there now, it means I wasn't meant to. It means I was still like in the game, learning something that would pay off later on.
Yep.
So it's never too late either.
No.
It's so doing this now, it encompasses the creativity of music, the health stuff that I was so interested, life, family, community. So it's like, oh, it only could make sense now.
We could not have done this before.
No, we lacked the life experience.
Yeah.
We needed to experience, we needed to live.
And going about what you said with your music, it's like probably like a year or more ago, before we started Pair, after we had sold our business, we're trying to like figure out, okay, like what to do next, right? We've got some money, we could sustain ourselves for a couple of years, but we got to figure something out. And like I was always a car guy, I always had cool, fun cars or whatever. And you like really were trying to convince me to start a car YouTube channel. And you were almost forcing it upon me to one point. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. And you didn't understand why. And I'm like, there are a million car YouTube channels. Like as soon as everyone gets a car, it's now, okay, go on YouTube, try to get followers, try to get free parts. And I consume a lot of car YouTube and all the different types. And not a single one of them is anything I really wanted to do. All the greats are already doing great stuff. And Doug DeMuro even said it. He's got like, I don't know, 4 million subscribers. He created a business, got like 50 million of investment. And he even says it. He's like, if I were to start a car YouTube now, no way. Everyone has a car YouTube. He's like, I started it 15 years ago when I was the only one. He's like, I bought a $40,000 beater Ferrari and I exploded. He's like, Right now, people have $4 million Bugattis and they can't even get 10,000 subscribers because there are a bunch of other people with the same $4 million Bugatti.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the way I saw it. And I was just like, I gave up before even starting because I knew it was not I couldn't bring any greater value than what was already being.
But I was trying to also
pump me up into doing
you up because there was like nothing going on.
No, exactly. But
and I knew you were an amazing personality, so that's like your value over.
Yeah, as one of my friends says,
the space was limited though.
You gotta, and what I'm doing more and more is just trusting that we are on the highest and most divine timeline, right? Trust God, trust the universe, whatever you believe in. Trust that if you continue to do good, you continue to work on yourself, then that path is going to be presented to you, right? And everything will unfold as it should.
I totally agree. And that's why I'm so pumped about this.
Yeah.
It's because it's the person that I want to be. This allows me to be the person that I want to be, a healthier, more accountable person.
Yeah.
It allows other people to be able to do that as well, and do it with the people they care about most.
Yeah.
So I know that just like Doug DeMuro in 15 years ago when he started the YouTube channel, he would go to his family barbecues and they say, "Oh, here's the freak. He talks to the camera, and he makes car videos. Yeah, okay, great. Get a job, buddy."
Yeah.
But we're in that phase now because the mainstreamness of what we're doing is coming later.
Yeah.
So we're in the best place to be because if no one else is here, that means it's where we got to be.
Yeah. What did my friend say? One of my friends, a good friend of mine he lives in Vienna, Austria, and he sent me a message the other day and he's like, and they have like this funny, like weird humor. And he's like, "Hey, Mr. Influencer girl talking on the internet about vibes and stuff, and like, but that's so far out of that guy's world. Like it's something like, it's primarily more of an American thing, especially versus like old money Austria, like type of stuff
where they
go to like opera shows every week.
Yeah, and they have like special cognacs for every hour.
Yeah, so like,
where they dress up.
So he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Influencer person, are you too cool now? Like you're all on YouTube and stuff." But I think, yeah, with Pear, it could not have happened before.
No.
And now is the perfect time. Like we're a little bit ahead of the curve. We've always been in this kind of domain that we're in right now. And it allows us to do the things we want to do, right? We love creating business, right? Like we love doing business. We love community. We love building things and designing things.
Love traveling,
and we love talking to other people, putting out content on the internet. I've always loved putting out content, right? I've never done it I've never put out content to monetize the content or to do anything. I've always done it just because I love to do it, right? Like, it's weird. I don't like trying to ask people for money in exchange for things. you know,
it's a simple concept that has worked for many people throughout.
I know. I don't like, but like with that, like we're doing this podcast and stuff, and we know that if we keep posting it, keep posting the clips, keep doing stuff, great things are going to happen. And it's funny because like we didn't post for Pear during the holidays and stuff. I think between like Thanksgiving and New Year's we didn't post, but last week we posted the first time in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
And all the things I was feeling like that were stagnant, they all changed because as soon as I started putting up those clips, I started getting messages. I started getting a renewed investor interest. Like, "Oh, hey, oh man, I love what you're doing. I want to invest." So it fired up. It caused the momentum. So doing this podcast as a companion piece to the product itself,
of course,
is a great thing. And the more consistent you are with it, the more momentum you build. And the more momentum you build, the more things start to happen for you.
Exactly.
Right. And that's where we are right now. And, it is hard. And some days you wake up and you don't want to do a podcast like this morning, or yesterday you called me like, "Dude, I don't feel like doing a podcast." Today, I woke up this morning. I was like, the last thing I want to do today is a podcast, but it is what it is. Like we just do it. Right.
Yeah. It's the reps.
Exactly. And then you do the podcast and then you feel good about it.
Yeah. You feel proud. And then it's you get the clips and you get to put it out.
Yeah.
And then people are interested and ask questions.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think Brandon would have ordered his Oura if he didn't see the clips from last week.
No, and like so many friends have reached out like, hey, like I love what you're doing. I want to get on this app. What do I need to do? So it gains not only interest to bring people to the app, but it brings in investor interest, business interest, and just sheer curiosity from many people.
Everything. I think there's a
Like my mom's real estate agent who follows me was like all interested. She's like, whoa, what is this? This is so cool.
Wasn't it crazy that she responded to like the video that you were saying so well about
Checking on your family.
checking on your family? Did other people respond to that as well?
Yeah.
Because that's the number one thing that in all my meetings I've had with like CEOs with wearables and all that kind of stuff, they're like, it's a no-brainer. Like no-brainer. My kids would have it. My wife would have it.
Mhm.
And this is an essential piece to my kind of personality type.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so continuing to do it, but I think why it was hard for me to post content about my music or anything like that is the same with my blog. So yes, I was talking about like what would have happened if I kept going, and it probably would have been good.
Mhm.
But the reason I stayed on probably is because it wasn't what I truly wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of health influencers. There's a lot of musicians.
Well, you weren't doing it to influence. You were doing it because you were just speaking your mind.
Yeah.
Like you just like if you have something on your mind, you make a video about it, you make a post about it, you write a song about it, right? You always had a vessel of some sort.
To express myself. Yeah. And monetizing that, creating email lists and then like putting up a store, it was like
it kills the fun.
Yeah. Maybe like that's something I need to learn and understand and like work through like my shadow self or something.
Mhm.
Or it's just like, no, that wasn't meant to be. You're meant to do something different, better, more suited to your personality.
But I guess also part of like not giving up is when you're starting something, whatever it is, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a tech company, whether it's a physical product company, at the beginning, which the beginning is probably 2 years, you're going to have to do a lot of things you are not good at and that you don't want to do because there aren't other people to do it and you don't have money to pay other people to do it.
So you have to use your time.
A lot of people will then give up because they don't have any more time on their hands. Like their entire life now is consumed by this new business they started. They can't see their friends as much. They can't eat as much. They're spending money on this product, so they can't like buy the things that they were buying before. They really have to take a step back. And sometimes
getting no money or recognition.
No money, no recognition, and only hearing the opinions of other people that they do not want to hear about. Right? So you have people blabbing in the back of your head that stays in your mind. Then you're tired. You're stressed. You don't know what's going to happen. So it becomes really easy to just give up, put it aside.
Yeah, and go get a real job, you know?
Yeah, and go get a
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, some
that's a beautiful thing.
I know a lot of people who have tried something and it almost killed them, but the skills that they acquired while doing that and just their personal charisma or whatever landed them a job that was way better than anything that they were going to create anyway. Right?
Exactly.
Like not everyone is meant to start a business. Not everyone is meant to be an employee. There's so many different types of humans, right?
Yeah.
So it's really just about finding who you are, what you're good at, what you like to do, what you're passionate about, and trying things. And I don't know.
No, that's really it. And being able to adjust on the fly, because you always have to evolve. You always have to adjust. You have to learn skills. Like, like we're editing the podcast. Before I had a guy editing the audio. I had a guy cutting the video. I had another guy doing
the podcast studio. You're spending like $300 on the podcast just to film the podcast with $300, then another $300 or $400 to edit the podcast. So it's like you're spending $1,000 a week.
Yeah, like I'm not going to spend that much money.
We're doing it for free now. We had the gear. Literally, we didn't have to buy any.
We had the gear. Technology is good. We can learn fast enough. And now when we have to hire people, it's going to be harder for them to bullshit us.
Exactly, because we've done the work. Okay, so why don't we go into the last thing, which is the 4 pillars of vibe.
Okay.
That's a you thing.
So the 4 pillars of vibe, it's when we're building Pair, we're building features. We're thinking about the user experience. Everything that we do at Pair has to be, in my opinion, aligned with these 4 pillars of vibe. And the 4 pillars of vibe is there are 4 things, and without them, you cannot vibe, right? Without family, without health, without community, and without wealth or money, you cannot vibe.
Mhm.
If you have all those things, but you got no money and you're worried about your,
We're not talking millions of dollars here. We're
No.
just talking like any salary, like a job.
yeah, like are you bringing in income that's allowing you to like live and survive?
Mhm.
So it's really tough. Actually, I didn't watch the Brian Johnson doc. Carson did. And he said when he sold his company for like $1 billion, he had money, but he had no family, no community, and no health.
Okay.
And he was on like the worst trajectory of his life.
Mhm.
And so he did a 360. And now he's like much closer with his family. He's obviously way healthier. But those 4 pillars of vibe are an interesting concept to me because that's what I want Pear to be able to accomplish. Does it help you get healthier?
Yes.
Does it allow you to get closer with your family? Yes. Will it be a place where you can find community? Yes. And now I guess you're wondering, how the hell is my money going to be impacted by Pear? Well, what we're developing as soon as we have like enough users to start making partnership deals is like maybe your wearable subscription might be a little cheaper if you work with Pear. Maybe you'll get a points card and use at Whole Foods or Target or whatever.
Yep.
All these possibilities and mechanics or tokenomics kind of, they function.
Mhm.
So what we want to do is we want to make every user healthier, bring them closer to their family, save them some money, and bring them community. And that's what I think is super powerful
Yep.
with what we're trying to do
Totally.
and what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the 4 pillars of vibe? My throat is fucked.
Yeah. The 4 pillars of vibe. That's pretty much it. Being close with your family is great, right?
And family/friends, yeah.
And your closest friends are also considered family, right? So yeah, that's great. If you don't have that, life is a little bit tough. What was the other one? Health. The healthier you are, the better every aspect of your life is. So that's like a given.
No brainer.
Wealth, money. If you have no money and only expenses, your vibe is going to be absolute trash. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be horrible. So like, even if you don't have a job or a good job or whatever, just find anything and make sure that at the end of the month, you at least break even and you can pay for your expenses in your life. Because if you're constantly struggling like that, it's really hard to vibe.
And that's why in the future of Pear, I see like a job place
For sure.
where you can get great jobs with trusted vibes and all this great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the other pillar?
Community.
Community. Yeah. So whether it's like we have the family and we have Pear, but yeah, if you don't have those things, at least in Pear, you can find a great community. And it's great. Like every time there's a new user, people come and they say hi and they're all strangers to each other.
Yeah.
And a new user who doesn't have friends on the app has a vibe score. And then you have random people commenting, hey, how'd you do that? That was great. So like finding that community is really good and bringing more people to that community is awesome. So no, I like the 4 pillars of vibe.
The 4 pillars of vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to throw that in at the end.
Mhm.
How long have we been going on this pod?
No idea.
Okay. Well, feels like it's been a good pod.
Yeah, it feels like it's good. I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour, which is the way we like to keep it. I
That's
don't
perfect.
want to take up too many people's times.
Yeah, no. It's excellent.
Sweet.
So thank you for watching episode 9.
Thank you for watching. And next week's podcast, we are going to have our first official guest. And that guest is going to be Scotty, who has been the Viber of the week and the month and probably of the year. Scotty's been doing really well. So we're going to, he's a very timid guy on camera. So it should be pretty funny to have him because he doesn't do this kind of thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever posted a video of any kind.
No, but he's going to be on.
So we're going to have Scotty on right there. And that's going to be really cool. And it's going to be fun to figure out how to format that with 3 people.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the evolution.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining us and listening to us on this podcast. And we'll see you same time, same place next week.
All right. And if you haven't signed up yet, I think on that side or this side, there's the QR code.
Okay.
for the wait list to become a Pair user.
Yep, join the Pair wait list.
And also on our YouTube channel, there's a section for frequently asked questions where we take clips from the podcast where we talk about like what is HRV or which wearable or all that good stuff. And you can just find it right around here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.
See you on episode 10.
Ciao.
Later.